silly love fables. We'll see through the illusions of love to find the treasure in being forever friends. Hey guys, happy Mother's Day. It's Sharla K coming live to you guys with another Forever Friends Academy episode. How are you guys doing? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, the aunties who are stepping in for the moms, grandmoms, anyone who has stepped in, or a woman who has stepped in to care for a child. We appreciate you in so many ways. Hopefully you guys had a nice, wonderful day, restful day, hopefully. We'll see. It's been a while since I've been on with you guys. Had some technical difficulties the last time, but I'm here. So hopefully I can get some of you guys on with me. But let me introduce myself, just because if there are any newcomers, which I absolutely would love. My name is Sharla Kornegay, aka Sharla K. This is my podcast, Forever Friends Academy. I am an author, recording artist, creator of Interask Coaching, as well as Forever Friends Academy, which is my online group subscription membership where we talk about all relationship topics. And this is my podcast of the same name. We talk about all relationship topics, and I am just a firm believer in love, and that having a relationship that lasts a lifetime, full of authentic, genuine love with two people caring for each other, is still very much, possible in this day and age. And so I created this podcast in hopes that we can have fruitful conversations where we can find some fundamental principles that we can apply to our relationships so that we can grow in them and grow together and not apart. So that's what you'll find with coming on the podcast with me. And if you want to check out any of my music, when I'm on the stage, I go by Sharla K. That's Sharla and K. So I'm on all platforms, so feel free to peruse my catalog. Working on getting some new music to you guys, which I'm excited about. So we'll see as time moves on. But I have a good, well, at least in my opinion, a good amount of music that you can peruse through right now, that you can at least find something, hopefully, that you'll like. So welcome to any newcomers, and welcome to my people that rock out with me all the time. I appreciate you guys. And like I said, happy Mother's Day to all my beautiful mothers out there doing what you do on an everyday basis, right? Every day should be Mother's and Father's Day, right? Because if you are a mother or father because you biologically have children, or like I said, you stepped in. I know for me, my grandmother, thank God, bless her soul, God bless her soul, she stepped in for me when my mother couldn't raise me. So I love, the family members, aunties, grandmothers, even friends of the family that step in, because it really does take a village to raise a child or children. So any person stepping in to do it in that capacity, I appreciate you guys. And honestly, the world needs you. We need you. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, Justin, how are you? How are you doing, sir? Thank you for popping in with me. I apologize about the last time you guys came in with me, and I had all the difficulties, technical difficulties in the world, but I'm here now. I was completely just froze. But I'm here now. So hopefully we'll have a good podcast tonight. And I guess I have a couple of quotes, y'all, because anybody who's been on the podcast with me knows how much I love literature, point blank, but I love quotes, and especially quotes that are just, I don't know, resonate with me or are very meaningful to me. And tonight's topic that we're going to talk about is multitasking versus undivided attention. And honestly, I thought about this topic really because of Mother's Day, because I'm sure you guys have heard, and not just mothers, but just women being very good multitaskers. You've heard that before, I'm sure. And even if you're not a woman and maybe you've just either going to apply for a new position or something like that, that's probably one of the things that they might ask you. in an interview if you get that far. Are you a good multitasker? I'm sure there are a lot of people who put that as a skill set on their resume. So I wanted to talk about that, and I really thought about it in tandem with Mother's Day because of all the things that mothers do juggle. And so I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about undivided attention. But while I was thinking of presenting this topic to you guys, I came across some quotes that I really want to, present to you guys and see what your thoughts are on it. As always, usually I only give you one, but I couldn't make up my mind. I couldn't make up my mind on which one was the best one. So I'm gonna give you guys all four of the ones that I couldn't make up my mind on. So, and you guys let me know what your thoughts are. Let me read some of the comments Justin has written to me before I read the quotes to you guys. So he says, I've been busy, but I'm here now. Oh, no problem. Did post new music? You did. Okay, I gotta check it out. I think I might have seen it in my messages, Justin, but I didn't really get a chance to really look at it. So most definitely, when I get a chance, I will check it out. And the song that you sent me is most definitely on my radar to start working on. Hopefully, like this summer, like after May. After May, my schedule kind of gets a little lighter. So I'm definitely lining up the new songs that I want to work on, and that's in there. So thank you for being patient with me as always. Hey, Ajax, how are you? Oh, thank you. He says, so happy to be back and see you. Yeah, I'm happy to see you too, and I'm happy you're back. Thank you for rocking out with me. I apologize again for some of the technical difficulties that we experienced last time, but hopefully today will be a new day. So far, so good. So we'll see. All right, so I made sure that I kind of took screenshots of them so that I wouldn't paraphrase them in the wrong way, because I don't want to do that, because I really did like a lot of these quotes that I saw. So, but the main theme is about undivided attention. So I want to say some of it to you guys, and you guys tell me what your thoughts are on them. All right. So the first quote states, the greatest gift you can give anyone is your undivided attention. The greatest gift you can give anyone is your undivided attention. So let me know what your thoughts are about that quote. Of course, do you think it's true? Do you think it has any kind of gems in it that you feel that people could apply, put to their relationship that will help them, facilitate growth, to grow together? And of course, my aim is build a relationship that lasts a lifetime. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. So again, it is the greatest gift you can give anyone is your undivided attention. So that's quote number one. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I'm going to read the second one because it's in line with the first one, and I couldn't choose between them. It says, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. I thought that was really interesting. And let me, because I always want to give people their flowers, and I realized I didn't tell you who the first quote is from. So the first quote that states the greatest gift you can give anyone is your undivided attention is from Will Schwab. And I hope I hope I pronounced his name right, but that's SCHWOLBE. Will Schwab. I hope that's right. So that's who stated that quote. And the second one is by Weil, WEIL. Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. Let me know what your thoughts are on those quotes. Let me know what your thoughts are on those quotes. And I don't want to overwhelm you guys. So I'm going to wait and see if I get some responses for those two. And then I'll tell you, I'll state the last two to let me know what your thoughts are on it. And then I will, of course, present my question to you guys tonight. Yeah. So let me wait and see if I get some thoughts on it, about those quotes that I stated. And again, for those of you who might have not came in the beginning, the reason why I really wanted to talk about this topic, and I'm sure if you came in on any of the platforms, you saw that I titled this Strength and Undivided Attention in Relationships. And, again, I thought about it because of all the mothers that I meet. And for those of you who have come on with me many times before, outside of me being a performer and a singer, I coach and I do relationship coaching. And a lot of the clients that I do have are mothers, right? Or wives, amongst the singles that I coach. But I meet a lot of mothers and wives who are simply overwhelmed, simply overwhelmed. And, whether it's the daily routine and not feeling like they have enough energy, enough strength, just exhausted. And it's across the board, of course. A single mom, the weight of it is greater, just because you're unless you have supportive extended family members who are supporting you, that are close in proximity to you, which would be a great ideal type of scenario that's helping you out. Then the weight becomes lighter. But if you don't have that type of inner circle or family group around you, then a lot of what you have to handle, you feel like you have to handle on your own. And even if, interestingly enough, even if you find wives who clearly they're married, they're still feeling exhausted and not feeling like they have enough energy to do the things that they, not only what they need to do, but what they want to do, definitely at the end of the day. So that's why I thought this would be a great topic for today, to talk about it. And of course, this can go beyond women and mothers and wives, because I'm sure there are some men who feel overwhelmed too. But that's one of the reasons why I brought it up. So I'm waiting to see if I see any responses to those quotes. While I wait, I guess I'll put out the other two, and you guys can let me know what your thoughts are on that. And then I will put out the quote, not the quote, I put out many quotes so far, but the question for tonight. So the last two that I wanted to show you guys or tell you guys tonight was, and they're all in the vein of undivided attention. So this one is coming from Donna Goddard, Goddard. And she said, productivity is far more related to undivided attention and openness than it is to time. I thought that was a very interesting quote. I'll say it again. Productivity is far more related to undivided attention and openness than it is to time. All right, so that's Donna Goddard. Hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And the last one, I know because y'all probably like, Sharla, I'm tired of you and these quotes already. Maybe not, I don't know. All right, but the last one, I'm not going to give it you guys anymore. The last one goes like this. Giving your undivided attention to someone is the beginning of a truly meaningful relationship. Giving your undivided attention to someone is the beginning of a truly meaningful relationship. All right, so lots of quotes. Maybe hopefully you guys can understand why I couldn't, make up my mind for which one I wanted to really present to you guys. Because I thought they were all really, really good quotes. Like really, really good quotes, especially this last one. I guess maybe this last one might be my favorite because I was like, okay, I'm going to wait to make this one the last one. And I'll say it again. Giving your undivided attention to someone is the beginning of a truly meaningful relationship. I think it's very true. Hey, it's Dream. How are you? All right. So I have some answers I have some answers, so I'm going to read that. I'm going to read those to you. All right. Antoine says, I like the first quote a lot. I do agree with it because we live in a time where social media and technology is taking over. So giving someone your undivided attention is so important and needed. So he is commenting on the quote that said, giving your undivided attention to anyone is the greatest gift you can give. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Antoine. He also states it's something that some people take for granted and don't appreciate it until it's gone. Yeah, very true. And I agree with you, definitely. And maybe that's why I also was drawn to these quotes, just because of the culture and the time, right? Thank you so much, It's Dream. And please tell your beautiful wife as well, happy Mother's Day. I hope you guys had a wonderful day together. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I agree with you, Antoine. With the culture of today, it's so hard. I think it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to not focus, you know, not focus within your own self and the things that you have to do. It's very easy for people to get derailed, much less now trying to give that undivided attention to someone or a task or something that you have to do. But I love these quotes because it kind of combats the whole multitasking, what I call like cape that they oftentimes put on, I don't know if I want to say put on women, but has been assigned, I'll say it that way, assigned to women in the role of a mother or a wife. And I think, I'm a performer and I'm a singer. And one of my favorite songs that I do love to sing because it's challenging for me and it's just, she's one of my favorite singers, along with Minnie Riperton, is Whitney Houston's I'm Every Woman, right? And so, you know, anything you want done, baby, right? It's all in me. I can do it naturally. And I love singing the song because it helps. It helps, me be able to kind of stretch as a vocalist. Doing any kind of Whitney song will make you do that. But I think definitely hearing songs like that definitely makes you feel like you have to put on the cape as a woman and do all of these things. And in these, thank you, Antoine. In these quotes, it's the opposite. And oftentimes when I do talk to the women that are, some of my women clients who are mothers and who are wives, one of the questions that I ask them, which I'm going to ask you guys tonight, since I've put out all the quotes and you guys have graciously reflected on them and giving me some answers back, is if someone was to ask you this question, where do you get your strength to do the things that you do? Where do you get the strength to do the things that you do, the things that you get done? So feel free to answer, whether you're a woman or a man, because I would love to know the answer. And oftentimes, I'll ask them that. And a lot of them, even in just setting up or trying to put aside time to invest, right, in their own personal growth or personal development. It's challenging to just even find space and time to have undivided attention to speak to me, to kind of unload and to peel back the onions to see what, where we can improve on either how they're functioning as a wife or how they're functioning as a mother. The first challenge is honestly trying to figure out where to have a space or time or a breather moment where they're not doing multiple things at one time to actually, right, get strength from focusing only on that one particular, right, session with me. And so, but that's a question that I'll ask them. I'll say, where are you getting the strength to do all that you're doing? because strength, you have to get it from somewhere, right? It's coming from some kind of source. And oftentimes, many people feel like the strength that they get, it's I get it from myself, whether it's my own drive, my own will to do the things that I feel like I'm supposed to do or that I have to do. And you find out when that's the mindset, that's where the exhaustion comes in at, because this whole world, I always say it on my podcast, is based and built upon an interdependent system. So if you feel like you have to do it all by yourself or you're doing it all alone, then yeah, that power that power is gonna be drained really, really quickly, Antoine, hey Tiny, oh hi Tiny Tori, how are you? How are you? Thank you, lovely, for stopping in. Antoine says, I agree with the second quote as well. Attention, especially undivided, is something that is out there, but it's harder to find, especially now because of how much technology and social media has grown. Yeah, absolutely. It's different now that it was back than it was back in the day. Yeah, absolutely. And It's Dream says he agrees with Ajax. Absolutely. Hey, Mac Fitness, how are you? Thank you for joining me. The question of tonight, feel free to answer, is where do you get the strength to do the things that you do? I'm tying this in, and you guys can also, I guess, this can be an addendum to that question, is do you think, and I guess I don't want you to answer this in theory. I would like you to actually comb what you're currently doing, do you think that you get more strength through multitasking and getting things done or through giving things your undivided attention? Kind of like building something brick by brick, piece by piece. So I guess that could be the merger of the question tonight. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you think that you get more strength from multitasking, or do you think that you get more strength from giving things your undivided attention and building it brick by brick, layer by layer, step by step? What do you think? And when you look at your own life right now, currently, which one are you doing more of? Are you multitasking and feeling like you're getting things done and making progress and making moves? Or are you highly concentrating on certain areas and giving them your undivided attention and building them brick by brick? What are your thoughts? Hello, Semi-Grand Rachel. How are you? Thank you for popping in. Hopefully you've heard the questions that I put out tonight. I also, earlier on, presented some quotes to everyone. They were all around undivided attention. Some were, the greatest gift you can give someone is your undivided attention. Another one was, giving someone your undivided attention is the beginning of forming truly meaningful relationships. So feel free to, chime in on whichever part you feel, inspired to. All right, It's Dream says undivided attention is way better. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. 1,000% agree with you. And he says multitasking should be a short-term solution. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And I think, and again, this is why I wanted to bring this up on Mother's Day. And not to say that maybe husbands don't go through this or men don't go through this, but like I said, it's you normatively hear, that, okay, women are are great multitaskers in the same way that you hear that women are great communicators and things like that. And you can find also in the research now, thank goodness, that they have said that our brains are not even wired to multitask, definitely for long periods of time, and how it actually it gives higher risk for making mistakes, higher risk for low quality, producing low quality. So I'm grateful for that. But if you're not necessarily reading the literature or have even heard that there are a lot of people who are still proceeding, right, with feeling like, okay, multitasking is the way to go. That's how I'm going to get the most things done. And I think definitely that's one of the reasons. And I think it's important. I'm grateful for the men who are giving me feedback on this conversation, especially if you're in here and you're either already a married, man, or you're one who is looking to become a husband. I think it's very important to have this conversation because I think a lot of wives and mothers are very exhausted because they are multitasking over long periods of time instead of giving, especially certain things, essential things in their life and their relationships, undivided attention to then glean strength from those things, right? So let me read some more statements. HX said, that's good. I think he is also agreeing and echoing its dream comment about undivided attention being way better and multitasking should be a short-term thing. He says undivided attention is better and is something that people can do. They just have to change and of what they pay attention to. Multitasking is something that people can do, but it takes some a little longer to do because it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy, and we're learning that we're not even like mentally wired to do so, especially over long periods of time. So I definitely agree with you guys on that. And I think, one of the things that I have seen occur that seems to be and you guys can let me know if you have either witnessed relationships and couples who you either see are already in the rhythm of this, or you can kind of feel like, okay, they are on the cusp of getting into this type of pattern. And one of the patterns that I see when this conversation is not presented in a relationship where they're discussing it and there's understanding and clarity about it, especially if they've had children, is that you will see the husband and the wife create a certain lifestyle or certain habits or routines that support where they're supporting each other, but the supporting each other is to support the child or the children that they have, right? There's a difference between a couple that is intentionally giving each other undivided attention to support and nurture either their purpose, their individual goals, or collective goals, or to nurture the relationship as a whole, because they know that when they're doing this for each other, then they are going to get strength from each other, right? A lot of times, and any person, whether you're a new parent, and you have maybe an infant, a baby, which consumes a lot of energy and time and resources, all everything, or whether you're a parent that of either teens or even teens that are going into adulthood, it still, right, has a lot of pull to sometimes, unfortunately, make the parents, the husband and the wife, take a back seat to supporting whatever goals that the child has, or just pouring so much energy into just the everyday, right? The everyday of what you have to either provide for your child or your children. And a lot of relationships will fall, unfortunately, where the husband and wife will kind of get under tow and become secondary instead of primary, where the relationship should be primary because, well, it was their choice to have these beautiful children or this child. And the child is secondary because the child came after, right? But a lot of times what will happen is that it just becomes like a vacuum. And the husband and wife do, okay, what does the child need? What does the child need? We need to do this for the child. We need to do that. And they can create a beautiful system, a beautiful dynamic, and a lifestyle that helps to nurture that child and help that child to grow and things like that. And slowly, but surely their relationship and their connection starts to fade, and you don't really notice it at first because the support that you're giving each other is there, that you're supporting one another so that you can support the child. But again, there's a difference from doing that versus, okay, no, we're supporting each other because I know that if I lock into my husband, I can get strength from him, right? Or if my husband locks into me, he can get strength from me. That's a totally different thing. And you can kind of know whether you're listening to this and you're reflecting whether, I have either either I'm pulling this vacuum of a type of pattern that I can get into, whether this is like a pull on my relationship or whether you feel like, okay, I'm reflecting and I realize that my relationship is in this type of system right now. You will know because oftentimes what I'll do is I'll ask my clients, like I said, the first question that I asked you guys, which feel free, again, to answer that question. Where do you get the strength to do the things that you're doing right now? Where are you getting the strength to do the things that you're doing right now? And when I ask them that, so oftentimes what they will say is they'll give me an answer like, my children drive me, or even if they give me an answer like it's, my husband gives me strength, they will expound on it and tell me because of the family, like I know that he can handle certain things, with the children. And if something was to happen or something to me, I would know that it would be okay. But that's not necessarily you getting direct strength, right, from your husband, because now all of the things that you've expounded upon is all supporting around, the children. So again, I'll highlight that, okay, the support that you guys are giving each other is great, but you're giving it to each other so that you can support the children, but not necessarily giving that undivided attention to each other, And I say this because I've also, and I'm still learning, I've also had to comb for me because multitasking came to me more so where, especially if you're a person who's skilled and versed at very different, at different things, that you're multi-talented, right? So when you're multi-talented, it is a very strong pull to multitask because, especially if you're a person who's like me, where it's like, okay, God, I know you gave me all these talents and I do not want to dismiss one for the other. I want to leave here draining myself, or maybe not draining, pouring out all that you put inside of me, right? And so I've told you guys before, I used to hate that, and hate is such a strong word. Let me say dislike. I used to dislike that quote that said, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Because I just was like, I don't want to pick out of whatever pool of talents that God gave me. Why can't I do them all, and I used to dread it because I didn't want to feel, and at one point in my life when it came to me trying to figure out what I was going to do in my career and which direction I should go, I felt like I was into so many different things, busy but not making real progress because I felt like I was all over the place trying to figure out how to balance all of those things out and multitasking but unproductive. And thank goodness for my for my wonderful husband, where he told me, he said, Charlie, you don't have to fear that, quote, because really the only master you have to be as a woman of God, as a child, as a daughter of God, is a master of obedience, because you do have the Holy Spirit in you, and the Holy Spirit understands all things. So the mastering should be towards your obedience, right? And then whatever things God tells you to do in the moment, in the season that he tells you to do it, you can do it. So that means you can do it all, but not all at the same time. Right? You can do it all, but not all at the same time, as well as you want to, when you are doing, accepting that guidance from God, or becoming, being open to, for God to kind of, fine tune you into becoming a master of obedience, is that there are certain things that are essential. There are certain things that are primary and that are fundamental, and that if you do those things, then it will cause a rippling effect on other things. So oftentimes whether it's a man or a woman, but again, a lot of the times, just in my short experience, because I say that I've been coaching for now about maybe 8 years, but I say that short because I've talked to many different therapists and coaches who've been coaching for longer. But in my experience, more of this issue, oftentimes I find it with the wives and the mothers that I speak to, because of all the things that they feel like they have to do, whether it's the domestic household duties, definitely if it's a person, a mother who is not only dealing with the domestic household duties, but also working and things like that, it becomes it's a stretch for her, and I always go to this place in our conversations and our discussion. I always say, how is the relationship between you and your husband, right? If there's a husband that's present. If it's a single mother, I say, okay, what are you prioritizing? Are you doing first things first? Are you handling the things that are fundamental? Because disorderliness will create chaos, and it will make you feel like you are all over the place, right? That's not just talking about cleanliness in your house and things like that, even though that can make you feel chaotic too. But I just mean like there is a structure and there's an order to even the household and the infrastructure of the family. And so if we have the conversation, then we start combing through to where now, okay, yeah, somewhere along the line, your children became, you nurturing and supporting your children's dreams became master or priority over you nurturing the relationship between you and your husband, or you and your wife. And it shouldn't be so, because you need to give undivided attention to the areas that are going to fuel you and give you the most strength to be able to pour into the areas that you have been graciously granted to be steward over, right? So that's why we're having this conversation. That's why I appreciate certain answers that Antoine gave, certain answers that It's Dream gave, where they agree that undivided attention is much better than multitasking. And yes, we there will be moments in life that we will have to multitask. But if we can reflect and if we can kind of comb through, again, like what I asked you guys, if you think about your own life, what are you doing? If you can, okay, I know what I say I believe, right? But oftentimes what we say we believe is not oftentimes, right, functioning or being displayed or demonstrated in our life, right? And so one of the ways to personally grow and improve is that the things that we know that are fundamental and that they are true, how much of that are we demonstrating? How much of that are we really aligning with to where it's being shown through the life that we live? So that's one of the first things that I'll say to them. Now, I want to make sure that I miss certain comments because I think I see them still talking, but I think they're talking to themselves. But I just want to make sure that I didn't miss a comment here. So I think I did. Antoine said, people make it look easy. He's talking about multitasking, but it takes time to learn and build. It's all about repetition. The more you do it, the better you will be. And its dream says exactly. And it could lead to mental clutter as well. Absolutely. Thank you for that, its dream. Absolutely. And here's the thing. And that's why I think it's so that's why I think it's so interesting. I think it's so interesting. I think there's a part of me, and it is especially, because I am a woman, I am a mother, I am a wife. And I think the things that have been hailed, where women are astute in, like communication, multitasking. It's interesting because I do believe in the positioning that God gave us within the family, that those are areas, especially in wisdom too, where if we can align ourselves in the truth and God's wisdom, that yes, I think there is a degree of clarity and understanding that we have. But what I see is that maybe in the way that it's been presented outside of the context of godly wisdom, that those very things that they say that we're astute in is causing us to have frustration, mental cluttering, being mentally cluttered, like its dream said. And it's almost backfiring, if that makes any sense, because if you're a mother and your wife, and definitely and you're listening to this, and if you're a husband and you're observing and paying attention to your wife, and you see that she's on kind of like default with multitasking just about everything, like where she is not seeing that there is space and time to take a breather, to focus on anything where it's concentrated energy. One of the best things you can do, and I'm sure that you guys have probably heard this, before, is of course, yes, give space. Maybe, take something off of her hand. I don't know, whether it be cooking dinner or taking the child for a little bit, to give her space to, to have a breather and a moment to do it. But outside of that, right, because that will be just for a moment, I think really having a conversation and a discussion like this is more helpful to put it in her, like, not just in her mind, but her being, to understand that there is a way that you can do what you need to do and get it done without feeling like you have to be on autopilot, multitasking everything, and it's going to be hard, right? Because again, in society and in our culture, what Antoine has presented is right. You hear, and like he said, it's like, okay, you get better at it over time as you continue to multitask. But that's not what I'm finding, in my, or let me put it this way. It will look externally like you're getting better at it because you're getting things done, right? But when we look at the micro details and the micromanagement of it, right, you will see where, right, the holes are. Not only just internally, because it's not meant for someone to do it and just be on autopilot doing over again, because the exhaustion is there. And then when there is time for the energy to be invested in areas that it's supposed to be invested in, there is no more there left for it, right? As well as maybe even you can see how the things are being done, that they're not necessarily being done with a spirit of excellence, or in the best quality. And of course, that would make sense, because if internally the multitasking is causing taxation on the mind, the body, and the spirit of the person who has to be the multitasker, then most definitely that's going to reflect in, right, the actions that they're doing and the things that they are, quote unquote, completing, right? That would only make the natural result or common sense that it would go in that way. So I think definitely just, at least I try to, if I have a husband and a wife, both in the coaching session together, that's one of the things that I say is that where do you get your strength from, right? And I'll answer that question because I don't think I've received the answer yet from anyone. But the way that I would answer that question is one, primarily, right, numero uno, from God, because God gave me everything that I have, my husband, my children, everything, right? So that's numero uno. And then after that is my husband. I get my strength from my husband because that's who God provided to be, right? To offer provision in so many different ways, whether it be emotionally, spiritually, physically, protecting and providing and nurturing the relationship. But I have to see that relationship between my husband and I as primary, first of all, and not as me engaging with him in whatever way, right? On all the different levels, not as another duty on my to-do list to do. Does that make any sense? And so, and again, I'm not saying that this is only women who think like this, but just in my experience, I've seen it happen more so because I see the husbands and men, and this is this is what you normatively have heard. Like, men are not good multitaskers because they usually normatively take one thing and focus on that one thing at a time to get it done. And usually they're like very tunnel vision, and that's how you've kind of heard the conversation as far as the comparison between, men and women. And sometimes, at least when I've heard the conversation, it's kind of, and especially if you're hearing a lot of women talk about men, it's almost looked at like in a, I don't want to say a demeaning way, but maybe a lesser than way, because you can't, juggle all the things that I'm juggling, and clearly now we're finding out that that's actually a better way to do things. Because when you give something your wholehearted, undivided attention, even if it's in that season, or even if it's in, for any of you guys who have done where the block scheduling, which has definitely helped me, block scheduling so that you can, block out the time that you're going to do a specific thing so you do not have to constantly work on one thing, two things, three things all at the same time. You get better results. You get better results not only internally within yourself, because you don't feel like your head's spinning in a bunch of different places, but you're able to kind of, pay attention to the details and do it in a certain way. And I think more importantly, what I found in that is in one, doing first things first and handling the fundamentals and giving undivided attention to build things kind of brick by brick rather than, juggling so many things, is that the energy that I need to give to the most important areas of my life is there because I'm not depleted. And then when you're depleted sometimes, and that exhaustion will now make you put things that are supposed to be primary in secondary positions and third positions, and then things that are important like intimacy between a husband and a wife, both sexually and in other ways, those things will be put to the wayside because there's no energy for it, but it shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so because the exhaustion from multitasking and not necessarily taking time to put your undivided attention into areas that you're supposed to, that will serve you, that will provide you strength to be able to do other things, in the day and throughout your life. You won't have the strength to do it. And then it'll also now put a burden on the relationship, because now the relationship is functioning, you're getting stuff done, but it's not in the proper order, it's not in the proper way, and it can't provide you with the resources that you need to be able to, have a healthy, exciting, engaging relationship with each other. Let me see if I missed anything. I don't think so. Oh my goodness, Ozzy, I don't know if you're still in here, but thank you for popping in. I don't know. You came in here. I just saw it. Antoine and It's Dreams, I think they're just talking to each other. But Antoine said, multitasking is something that I am working more on and I'm getting better at it. Good for you, Antoine. So you must feel like I'm so... Here I am talking about, you don't want to multitask over a long period of time because we're not really wired to do it. And when I come back on, we get some snippets from some of the research that I have read and articles that I've seen. And like I said, yes, you can get it done. You can get things done multitasking. And like It's Dream said, there will be times, that in short term times that you have to do that. And yes, the more that you do it, the better you'll get at getting the things done. But I think my primary message that I would love to kind of hit home to you guys, and like I said, definitely to the mothers and the wives, because in my experience, I see they are the ones that are, experiencing this on a very weighty level. But definitely the husbands that are in here and future husbands, it's a good conversation to have clarity and understanding on, because you can provide, understanding and clarity in this way. And more importantly, you'll be able to detect when, right, it's occurring in your relationship. And then you'll have, prayerfully, the right words to articulate to your partner, and you'll be able to kind of demonstrate action-wise and put things in place to facilitate an environment where it's like, okay, yes, from time to time we will multitask, okay? But in no way, shape, or form will we put things that are essential and fundamental to the background. For instance, our relationship, our marriage, us getting strength from each other, us connecting with each other. We can't make the things that have come secondary after that become master over us. Secondly, we want to create an environment where we put our undivided attention into the things that we know is going to provide us a source of strength, because we're going to need it to navigate this life, right? We're going to need it to be able to pour out into the world. And if we don't have those things kind of set up, then it's going to be very easy to feel exhausted. It's going to be very easy to be like, okay, no, I don't want to talk to you tonight. I don't want you to touch me tonight because I'm exhausted and I don't have anything left. When it should really be the opposite, because though that very thing, right? And I'm telling you, you will not. And I'm sure any woman who's listening, even some of the men, because you hear the defaulted kind of systems and patterns that relationships fall into. Many men don't want to get married because their friends will tell them, like, don't get married. It's going to be different. You're not going to have, for those of people who aren't did not abstain. They're like, you're not going to have sex like you used to when you get married, because kids, things like that. These are defaulted systems that are occurring in masses, but it doesn't mean that it's supposed to be that way. It just means that conversations about relationships are not being are not being facilitated. We're not having them to understand or see signs of why this is occurring, and how can we, when we see it approaching, how can we, stop from getting into defaulted routines that don't serve us and serve our relationships and our marriage, right? Because intimacy, especially in holy matrimony that God created, you're supposed to get strength from each other with that way. So it would be a great tool, of the devil and the enemy to say, okay, let's strain this area, right? Because that's the only area that they can become as one as you can get. So if we can, and let's use these justifications of, I've been doing this, that, and the third, and I'm just tired, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that as a woman, you don't express that, right? But we have to go beyond expressing it to understanding where the breakdown is occurring, and to understanding that if there is a block in the area that we're supposed to get, one of the most essential strength from each other in, then we want to do, the most to figure out why it's occurring, and flip it on its head and go on to the other side so that we can be who we're supposed to be for each other in God, so that we can, nurture each other and nurture the relationship in the best way, So that's one of the ways, that's one of the ways that so to answer the question for tonight that I put, hey, Ashley, how are you, love? Thank you so much. I didn't see you over there. Thank you for joining me. I don't know if you're still here, but she said happy Mother's Day. Thank you. So if you, like I said, if you can take anything away from tonight, from the question that I asked, where are you getting the strength to do the things that you are doing right now? Are you a person who's like, well, I've been multitasking. I'm multitasking for more than half of the percent, half of the percent of the day is filled with multitasking. And I don't see the spaces where I'm giving undivided attention to many things. Maybe it's 80% of my day is multitasking. Maybe it's 95%, 90% of my day is multitasking. And then if you find yourself somewhere in the middle to the end of the day to where it's like, I am kaput, I'm done. There is no more left. The sponge has been wrung all the way out. There's no more juice coming out of it. Then we have to, we want to reflect, because it shouldn't feel like that. It shouldn't be like that. Now, don't get me wrong. We all have our days where it's like, oh, good, it's a busy day. Yeah, I'm tired. But we're talking about if this is a constant routine now, and if that constant pattern is where it's like at the end of the day, I'm now trying to give a very small percentage, if any, to the husband or the wife that God gave me, and I don't have it to give. We don't want to stay in the mindset of that's okay, because it's not. It's not okay, because at some point, not even at some point, at every point, we extract strength. We need to extract strength to be able to pour. I always say on this podcast that, how we navigate time in this life is the expenditure and the renewal of our energy, right? None of us can negate that, right? We all get a certain amount of time in the day, but what the difference is that some of us renew and expend our energy in different ways, right? And one of the best ways to do that, to maintain strength, is again to put the fundamental, invest your energy and your time and give undivided attention to the essential things and the things that are fundamental, because then they can offer a rippling effect to the things that are secondary and that come in other places. But if we put those things out of order, then yeah, there's nothing put in place for you to extract the strength that you need to be able to expend and invest your energy in all the areas of life that you have to. So if you can walk away with anything, I would say is that so So that is our conversation for tonight, guys. Thank you for all your input, all of you guys. It's Dream, Antoine, Ozzy for coming in, all the people who, popped in, Ashley, popped your heads in for this, Mac Fitness, send me all of you. I can't name all of you guys, but I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm gonna kind of look in some of the literature, because I'll probably do a part 2 to this, just so you can hear some of the research that has been done when it in regards to multitasking and its effect on us, and especially its effect on women particularly, but also men. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for popping in, and we'll probably continue this conversation a little bit, but yeah. So hopefully something you heard tonight resonated with you. If you're a newcomer, thank you again for stopping in with me. And if you want to come back again, I come on every Thursday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to dive in a little bit deeper, I do individual coaching as well as group coaching. So if you are on Instagram, click the link in my bio. If you're on Facebook and all of the other platforms, the link is in the description to find out about all of those things, whether it's individual coaching or couple coaching, private coaching, or joining the membership, Forever Friends Academy subscription. Feel free to, click on the link and see. And definitely, if you want to check out any of the full videos, they're on YouTube. So subscribe, like, and comment to my Forever Friends Academy YouTube channel. That's where you have all of the live videos in its full length. Will be on there. And yeah. So until next time, guys, thank you for stopping and popping in with me as always. And I will hopefully talk to you guys soon. Definitely Thursday, this upcoming Thursday. So feel free. All right. But as always, until next time, always remember to live, to love freely. Bye.